Hello, and welcome back to Outside the Box, an MLS podcast. My name is Juanners.
This is Daniel.
I'm Jeremey.
I'm Gus.
And we're back with another 2 hours of just vocal serenades for all the listeners back home. I went to the Rapids game this weekend, and I had a great time. I can't help but feel like RFK Jr. right now, just getting through this. I now feel for it. But yes, I used up all my voice just cheering on the Pids. And in the middle of tailgating, who pinged me on Discord? Was it Daniel? Or was it Jeremy?
Yes.
Someone
Probably
pinged
both
me
of us.
for the assignments, and I like a fifth grader just went through and dotted everything, put whatever. So the assignments are a bit random, but I feel like it helps to spread out the takes a little bit, because I mean let's start with the most recent Sunday night soccer. We were talking about the Timbers beforehand, because I'm not the only one coming into this with a little bit of an injury on the status report. We got Jeremy telling us his a story about his middle finger. I don't know how he was using
It's my favorite finger.
But through all that, we're still here providing some content. Let's talk about this Portland match. Cause I thought Portland were gonna hold on to that 1-0 lead. Almost had 2-0 in that first half. I left for dinner at halftime, and then I saw the score thereafter. But I'll let our Cascadia man himself, Jeremy, lead off with the Timbers here on Sunday Night Soccer against St. Louis City.
Not only is my finger on the injury report, I'm very sleep deprived and I'm very angry. So it's very nice that I get to lead off with what is, for the second week in a row, or the second home game in a row. Road game. I said I'm sleep deprived, guys. For the second road game in a row, losing to the 14th place team in a conference, because they did this 2 weeks ago against Toronto. They lost to 14th place Toronto on the road, and now they've lost to 14th place St. Louis on the road. It's really funny that Juanners mentions that the Timbers, he expected them to hold on when they were up 1-0 at halftime, because in every single road game this year, I'm counting the Open Cup game against Tacoma, because you know what fits the pattern, I'm adding it. In every single road game where they've scored the first goal this year, they've won 4-0-0 before yesterday. But on the inverse, if they've allowed the first goal on the road, they are 0-4. So, and the other two draws were scoreless draws in Austin and what was the other one? Probably Austin again. I'm sleep deprived. Here's the thing about this game. I don't think the Portland Timbers are a good soccer team, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And here's why. So, normal teams at least have a semblance of what they want to do out of possession. They either say we're going to drop low, we're going to become a park the bus team like what Minnesota does. They could say we're going to be a mid-block team where the defensive line is a little bit higher than the line at the top of the penalty box. Or they say we're just going to press high and make everything hell. The Portland Timbers do none of that. They are currently caught in a state of it's basically limbo, because their defensive line is so high, but they don't press with their forwards. So it's basically like the most compressed mid-block, where they're only occupying the middle third, leaving acres of space in behind, and they don't provide any pressure, or at least organized pressure, aside from a wayward Kevin Kelsey, who will just run forward at a center back trying to take them off the ball. That doesn't usually happen, but he tries, and you have to give him credit for that. This team out of possession is awful. It's absolutely awful. And I did a podcast this morning, or like this morning. I woke up at like 2, and then I immediately hopped on a podcast to discuss this stupid game. And I basically said the number one problem with this team doesn't have to do with goal scoring right now, even though goal scoring is a serious problem. Their biggest problem is the fact that they are simply too easy to beat. If you're watching this first half and you're looking specifically at Joao Klaus within these first 15 minutes, during St. Louis's build-up phase, he was dropping deep and to the right. That specifically, go for it.
Yeah, I was like, how are they cooking how are they cooking you with Klaus on the wing? Like, that was one of my first instincts, because when I went back and watched this, I'm pretty sure it was a like a simple, target winger activity out there. And I'm thinking, where is like Mosquera in this? Where like, this dude should be on him, or Forey chaining him up,
Well, here's why it didn't work like this. So Klaus is specifically in his first 15 minutes, he's dropping really deep. Now the Timbers are man marking. I don't like it that they're man marking, because I don't think they have very good 1v1 defenders, particularly at center back, and particularly the guy who opens all the space for this next play to happen, Kamal Miller. Because Kamal Miller gets dragged out of position by Klaus dropping deeper. So when Klaus receives the ball, Miller, the Timbers are playing a back 3 here, he gets dragged out. Do you know what that does? It releases Thomas Totland, who immediately makes a run, and Joao Klaus pulls off a center back level long ball, finds Totland perfectly in stride. Maxime Crepeau nullifies him in a 1v1. Game is still 0-0. This chance happened 6 minutes in. So immediately I'm like, we're going to be in for one of these, aren't we? Where the Timbers are both powerless to stop balls coming through the middle, because St. Louis, to their credit, looked really good playing through the middle and exploiting central spaces, particularly around the box today, or in this game. They can't defend through the middle. They can't defend from the front. And they keep on allowing these long balls over and over and over and over again. This is just classic Timbers at this time. And somehow, they are tied on points with the Seattle Sounders for 4th place, but they're not in 4th place. They're in 5th because the Sounders have a better goal difference. So, when you get to this game, you notice that immediately St. Louis is on the front foot. They're going to stay on the front foot. The St. Louis has, I think they matched or broke their highest shot total of the season yesterday. And if no matter whether or not they matched or broke it, their other highest shot total of the season was the other Sunday night soccer game where they visited the Portland Timbers. So when you're allowing a St. Louis team that is, as everyone agrees, pretty bad going forward in the attack, and they're doing most of this damage, mind you, with Edward Leuven still on the bench. He doesn't even enter yet. I believe first and foremost that if you're gonna say, oh, the Timbers are a playoff team, you're only doing it based on what they've done in the first half of the season, which was very good, where they beat a lot of bad teams. Portland still has to play San Diego twice. They still have to play Minnesota twice. They traveled to Vancouver. They traveled to Seattle. They traveled to LAFC. And then they have 2 other Texas road games throughout this stretch of the season that they're about to go on. So this is a very bad Portland team, or a Portland team that has massively overachieved, which is one of the reasons I don't praise them as much on this podcast, because I can see the writing on the wall. And initially at the start of the year, where they were vastly underperforming these numbers, their underlying numbers, I was basically saying, let's let this team be like the underlying number deniers. Let's let this team show that maybe the underlying numbers can be wrong sometimes. But I'm not talking just in terms of XG. This team at points just looks like they've never played. That's what I saw yesterday. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You cannot allow St. Louis City to win a game of soccer. You can't. You absolutely cannot. God.
Luckily
Especially
for
given that they were bottom going into the game as well. St. Louis were.
Yeah, they were. They were because the Galaxy won. That's good. That's really good. I mean, like the Timbers have provided so many just like launching points for teams this year. Like San Jose really started to get good after they beat the Timbers 4-1. Nashville started to really put things all together after they beat the Timbers 2-0. Toronto, whatever. We don't know about Toronto yet. St. Louis, meanwhile, they could actually do some damage now going forward, and I'm hoping that they can repay this giant favor that we gave them by just giving every single Western Conference team hell for the rest of the season. That's all I hope. We don't have to play St. Louis again. I'm very happy. I don't like playing St. Louis. I hate them. I absolutely hate St. Louis. But it's unbelievable how this Timbers team still somehow is in contention for a top 4 spot. And not only in contention, like there's 9 points behind San Diego, and there are still 6 points up for grabs in both games they have to play against whatever San Diego's nickname is, the Plastics. So, yeah, it's very, very, very annoying. And the Timbers still have an open DP slot, which was vacated by Jonathan Rodriguez going on the season-ending injury list. And David DaCosta scored for the second game in a row. That's really good. He needs to do more of that. But at the same time, like, there are still huge structural problems with this team. And I'm pretty concerned that the coaching staff hasn't, like, fully understood that even though the results are going our way, there's a reason that this team just keeps losing games that they absolutely should not be and not winning games that they absolutely should be winning. This was absolutely one of those games. And it's not just a mentality thing, because all Phil Neville talks about to an extent is mentality. He doesn't really talk too much about like specific like tactical stuff. But you know, like you gotta switch up some things. You gotta figure out a better out of possession structure. This game was horrific to watch. What did anyone else agree with that?
I mean, there's not much for me to disagree with. I was gonna put it up to one of the other boys, see if they wanted to chime in, because my main takeaway is Cedric Twyker is a fraud, officially on Fraud Watch. Has been for a while now, but for me, it's not a player that excites me at all anymore in this point in the St. Louis system.
I mean, I more or less have a question for Jeremey here, because this is probably the most condemning rant I've ever heard him give for the Portland Timbers. So they're sitting 5th in the West. Are we ready to really go off the deep end after a loss to St. Louis and put Portland on Fraud Watch? Is that what we're doing right now?
Here's the difference. I'm not exactly saying they're on Fraud Watch, because this entire rest of the season is going to be determined by whatever DP they're going to bring in, which I've been saying is a right winger, because I'm very, very, very close to being hashtag done with Santiago Moreno. Like very, very, very close. This happens every year. It's a yearly tradition where it usually happens around the summer, where I'm just thinking, okay, I'm like Santiago Moreno should not be an every game starter for this team anymore, which is kind of nuts to say. But like when you're as inconsistent as he is, it doesn't really sound that wild, does it? But I don't want to put them fully on Fraud Watch, but I also don't believe they're a good team, because good teams, well, I mean, I don't think the Sounders are a very good team, but they also lost in St. Louis. That's worth noting. But I don't think that good teams lose those games. no matter which players are available and which ones can play and which ones don't play, because Felipe Mora doesn't get any playing time in this game. And half the fan base is up in arms about Kevin Kelsey. They're angry at a 20-year-old right now. And I've had to back myself into the corner of being a Kelsey defender, despite watching him as a loose ball trickled right across the face of the goal, and he just stood there being angry because the ball wasn't passed to him initially. Like, God, this team can be very good. I know they can be very good. I know the talent that is on this team and the talent that's on this roster. But right now, they just have not been performing to it somehow this year. And they're in fifth. They're in fifth, and they have one DP. They've had one healthy DP the entire year, and it's a first-year DP too. This is nuts.
All right.
This is
All right,
nuts.
Jeremy. Jeremy, say something nice about Marcel Hartel.
He's got a really funny name, I'll tell you that. But also, St. Louis's first goal, they score in this one, which I firmly put the blame on Joao Ortiz for not like actually putting in a challenge on Thomas Ostrak when he's just carrying the ball through the middle of the field, because that's what every team does against the Portland Timbers. Just the awareness to notice where that ball is going when it pops right up into the air and still be able to catch it perfectly on the volley like that. Like, yeah, you could be harsh on Maxime Crepeau for that, but like, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Like, that's just a really good finish. And part of St. Louis's problem, I'm time to pivot. I'm done with the Timbers. Part of the problem with St. Louis this year is not only just the injuries, but Hartel has been in so many different spots. And in this game, he was acting as a true number 10, playing underneath Klaus with Teuscher on the right and Celio Pompeu on the left. And this man was popping up in every single dangerous area because, once again, the Timbers just give every single opposing number 10 just acres of space whenever they have the ball. And he was being really dangerous whenever he got on the ball. Like, that expected threat metric, I didn't actually look at this, but I'm making a pretty good guess. I'm pretty sure Marcel Hartel had his best performance of the season measured by expected threat, because that man can play. He's very, very, very good. I'm kind of with Juanners on Teuscher. I don't really see it with Teuscher. I think that's also because they put him out on the wing when I think he's more of an interior creator, playmaker, second striker, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, you also had to keep Celio Pompeu on the pitch because he was very good until he went out injured. So, I mean, I think St. Louis are pretty well set up for the rest of the season, but it all depends on how healthy Leuven is.
Well, Leuven's problem has been both injury and unavailability due to off-field issues, which are completely valid. So, I mean, I don't know how much you can trust that at that point, but they're a better team with him on the field, I think. So, and he played pretty well when he came back on. So I'm not too pressed because they're not as good this year. Their floor's just not there, but next year, right? Kind of like last year, it was like, yeah, next year they'll be fine. But something about that sporting director, I don't know. Let's pivot to the actual underperforming team or overperforming team of the season. FC Cincinnati took on Columbus Crew. I'm gonna go to Joss for this one. An Ohio derby here. Hell is real. What can you tell us about this matchup? 4-2 for Columbus, who we've kind of been like, it's kind of like a will they, won't they be towards the top again? And this is kind of a good step for them. What'd you make of this one, Joss?
Hell is real. The Hell is real derby was this weekend, and Daniel, I just want to confirm, you tweeted out that it is the best derby in MLS. Do you agree with that still?
All I tweeted was the best rivalry in soccer gets played tonight.
That's right.
I didn't mention any teams, but we got some amazing replies.
I do think it was. I took it as Hell is real, and I think that this game also lived up to the expectation. And for 40 minutes, of this game, FC Cincinnati looked like the ones that were putting Columbus through hell. They were 2-0 up after Evander scored, and Brazilian journalists flooded Jeremy's DMs, and they were great. They were at home. They had the crowd. And when TQL is really on it, it's one of the best places to watch soccer in the country. Arguably, I think it is. I think it is the best. When they're on, they're on. And as someone who experienced it earlier this season, it's hard to find a place like that. But then Columbus stormed back and made Darlington Nagbe. I cannot believe that this guy is still playing at such a high level at his age. A Crew legend for sure, a Timbers legend. I believe so, a Timbers legend. And it is so good.
An Atlanta United legend as well. Do not forget Atlanta United.
Of course, this guy, I thought he would have hung it up by now, but he's still one of the best midfielders in the league. And Columbus
quietly
would not be the team they are. Sorry?
He's quietly still, like, that's always been his thing, right? He's always just the most underrated guy for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who is unfortunately also a USMNT fan, I cannot believe that he has not been getting as many look-ins as I think he should have, especially in the last few years, playing for the Columbus Crew, one of the best teams in MLS, being a star for them. It's crazy. But him and Chambost were unbelievable in that second half and helped stage a 4-goal comeback, which, God, I bet that's fun if you're a Crew fan. I bet that is a fun atmosphere to be a part of. Imagine making the trip down there and watching your team score 4 unanswered to come back and win 4-2. For Columbus, this is huge for them. It shows once again that Wilfried Nancy is able to coach a calm and dominant team, and I think that that's something that is really, really special. Really, a trademark of them is how calm they are when they're under pressure, and that they don't really stray from their game plan too much. And it leaves them still fourth in the East, but now only 1 point back from Cincinnati, who are second, and 2 points back from the Union, who are top of the table. And then for Cincinnati, I'm not sure what happened. It just seems like they got complacent. They got complacent about it. They thought 2 goals up in the first 5 minutes, we're good. And it's you can't do that against a Columbus team. You can't do that against a Nancy team, and you cannot do that in a Hell is Real derby. I love this game. I love Hell is Real. It always seems to deliver, and I really think that we're kind of set to see. I would love to see these teams meet in the playoffs again, because games like this just remind me why this league is worth watching. So, great win for Columbus on the road, and for Cincinnati, can't let that happen again. I don't think that they'll be forgetting this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, one thing for Cincinnati, they're missing Obina Nbodo, man. Like, it works when you're towards, the talent can carry you towards the top end of the East, as it has. Like, when you're beating up teams way below you, like Chicago, New England, Atlanta, like Cincinnati win the games they're supposed to, right? Even without Nbodo, but I guarantee you they want this dude badly for the Hell is Real derby, right?
Yeah.
And beyond that, like, I love Kai Kamara, but I'm not sure if he's a long-term solution, right? Just as much as Gazdag isn't. So, I mean, both of these teams with, like, just less than ideal partners to their attack here. Denke's still pretty... I don't know how we're feeling about Denke. I think he's been awesome. Even when we've ragged on him and his Evander connection, but I'm going to throw it over to Daniel. What are you making of both of these teams? Anything you're seeing in particular to the new signings or even how you're seeing this team?
I think this was an absolutely bottled game by Cincinnati. Probably one of the most exciting Hell is Real derbies that we've seen in the regular season in quite some time, actually. But nothing crazy outside of what is going on with Miles Robinson, fellas. I feel like he had an absolute stinker, and he's been pretty bad. I mean, generally all year from being one of the highest paid center backs in the league, no? Is anyone else disagreeing with that?
Well, he was away for a bit, wasn't he? Or
Yeah.
injured?
He was, but like he was one of the guys that Cincinnati fans were like, "Oh, wait till Robinson's back," and they're expecting him to be this game changer, this guy who elevates the team more. And I think he does do that, but compared to what he's being paid, it's not enough. So yeah, I agree with what Daniel's saying.
I also love when Celentano and Schulte play against each other. I don't know, something so awesome about like two U.S. men's national team, like youth internationals playing against each other in the same state in derbies. And for some reason, Schulte always seems to have his number and win, but it's probably because it's really just hard to win against Wilfred Nancy. So I don't know. It's just always a fun game to watch, but nothing crazy outside of the Miles Robinson complaints and Daniel Gazdag still no goals, no assists. Also, was Daniel Gazdag playing on the wing again? I believe he was. I believe they ran a 4-4-2, no? And they ran Russell Rowe and Rossi up top. They can't.
I think with Columbus, the lineup I see is a 3-4-2-1 with Gazdag as an inside forward. So, I mean, to some extent, yes. But I think that 3-back is always just going to be... I mean, Wilfred Nancy is like exists without possession, without formation, outside the realms of a formation where you can line these guys up. Because you'll have center backs pushing up to where Gazdag should be getting stuff, and he's just there waiting for the ball. He never gets it. I mean,
I don't want to beat a dead horse because we talked about it last week about just how poorly he's assimilated to this Columbus team, but he's also one of those guys that is getting paid a ton of money to play a sport. You gotta eventually, if you're a Columbus fan, you gotta be like, okay, where's the production coming from with this guy? Now, you can't really complain after a 4-2 win against your rival, but I mean, that's if this persists, it's gonna become a continued talking point for sure. And the more that pressure grows, just the harder it is for a player like that to get out of it, I feel like. Because we're seeing so many instances where players are starting to get legitimately harassed by fans. In some cases, you're getting paid a lot of money, you should. And I can see that happening with Daniel here in a little bit. And we'll get there when we talk about Austin and Ozuni, but it's getting ridiculous in some of these cases for sure.
A flash question before we move on for everyone. Miles Robinson or Cheeto Awazium? Start with Jeremy.
For Cincinnati?
No, just not even just for your
in
team,
general. Who would I rather have?
Like you're building an MLS team, and your options right now are Miles Robinson, Cheeto Awazium.
Okay, Juanners, how much money is Cheeto Awazium making?
I mean, how much is Miles? Probably.
I think Miles is on one
more.
I think last I checked, because I looked at this at the beginning of the season, Miles is on 1.2 mil a year.
I mean, Cheeto's 1.4. So I mean, at that point, let's say they're they're both 1.3.
Oh, that doesn't help.
I mean,
they're both 1.3.
This is the question that Cincinnati had in their offseason, so I'm interested to see how you guys would answer this question. Because they're both on similar contracts.
I mean, I'm taking Miles Robinson. I don't want. Do I have to take one of them?
Yes.
Yes, that's the question.
Shit.
We'll come back to you.
Now
unless you got it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, Cheeto's on an international slot, and Miles Robinson isn't. So, I mean, I'll take Miles Robinson.
All right. The rest of the cast?
I am a GM.
Where are we going?
Can I take
Jansen Miller?
Daniel?
Can I take pre-knee Miles Robinson? Like pre-knee surgery Miles Robinson? Or does it like have to be like modern day?
Well, I mean, I'm just taking you back to January because the thing here for Cincy is I kept hearing in the offseason they'd be fine with their center back core, and they've had to put Lucas Engel at center back to make up for a lot of it. He's not a bad center back, but he was signed to be a fullback, and so I don't know. I'm just kind of laughing from this side with Cheeto Awazium, who I rate more than Miles Robinson. But
I'm going to take Miles Robinson, but it's only because I still have belief in his ability to track back and just his general athleticism, even though he's lost quite a bit with his knee. At least it feels like he has. He just hasn't been the same player since he has his knee surgery.
We'll come back to this one as the year progresses. Let's move on, though, fellas. We got Charlotte in New York City, a team that in New York City I've always claimed have just been so fake. I don't know how to describe it. They did sell Burke Risa. They're starting left back up until this point. I think I did see that they sold him. Is that correct? Am I wrong on that?
He is off to Molda.
Yeah, I swear I saw that, and now it's like disappeared from the MLS website. But NYC, Charlotte. I'm gonna let Daniel start with Charlotte here because that is his team. This team with Pep Biel and, like I said, with Aiden Gorno, Taklamati, will be fine without Patrick Adjemang. It's just that defense, right? But a clean sheet here for Charlotte at home. Talk us through it, Daniel. What'd you make of this one?
Look, guys, beginning of the year was really high on this team. The last 3 or 4 weeks been incredibly low on them. So we're going to try to be as even kill as possible right now. And this is knowing that the reason why NYCFC exists is to make bad teams feel like they're not bad teams and to upset good teams. And I don't want to fall into that category of a bad team that NYCFC just made feel like a good team. But when you're rolling out Bill Tuoloma as your right back and you get a W, you feel pretty good about that. No, this was a good game. And it's nice seeing Zaha out there having fun. It's nice seeing Gorno, our homie, scoring a big goal. And Kerwin Vargas also got a goal. And you're getting a lot of production from guys who really shouldn't be starters in this league. At least not right now within the stage of their career. They could easily develop into good starters, and that's why they're on this roster on the first team, right? But it's not the preferred choice lineup. And they're still going out there and they're getting results. So not a whole lot to complain about on my end, particularly since Christian Kalina finally got his clean sheet again. Speaking of just some whatabouts and rumors you see just on the social media sphere, I'm starting to see fans who are saying that it might be time to move on from Christian Kalina. I can see the argument, but he's also not saying he's a build the statue kind of guy, but he's been with the club since the very beginning, and he's always been a stable piece to organize the back line. And I just don't think we're at that point yet. I think his biggest flaws this season may have come from a head injury that Jeremey so kindly pointed out about 10 weeks ago. But other than that, I mean, this is your strongest midfield, and it is a decent attack going up against a NYCFC team that we quite literally don't know nothing. We know nothing about them because they've been so inconsistent all year. But no, overall, super happy with the performance. I thought Malanda looked good. I thought Privet looked good. I think Pep Biel continues to be the best non-DP attacker in the league, and I will continue to bring him up in every argument, no matter how much you guys pick on me for doing it.
I actually did think it was a bit unfair when we kind of got on you for saying you snuck him in. But I was only recency bias because they had just lost, so I'm like, whatever. But no, I like Pep Biel. I really do. And shifting over to NYC, because they got Alonso Martinez and they got Matt Friesen, and this is probably as close to a first team as they can get here, even without Burke Risa, who's kind of just a stand-in for Kevin O'Toole. Mitja Ilinic off the bench, even after his crazy performance. Jonathan Shore no longer a starter. It just kind of feels like NYCFC just go through the motions. They aren't a team that is... They're a team that just does well at home. And if they're going to win at home and just punt on the way. I mean, that's kind of the strategy in MLS. So they really are min-maxing here, but it's kind of a bit boring for me watching NYCFC at this point. How's the rest of the cast feeling about them, and are there any bright spots you guys are seeing? Anyone want to lead the charge here on some NYCFC?
They brought in who was that guy? Their new number 10.
Nicolas Fernandez.
Him from Spain, somewhere in Spain, right?
Elche.
Yeah.
Elche.
La Liga Dos, where stars come to MLS.
Like Murdo Ozuni.
Like Ozuni, that's right.
So that maybe he'll be an answer for NYC's like really hot and cold. Like they just can't seem to be put anything together that resembles a streak of any sort. Like since May, they're win, loss, draw, win, loss, win, loss. So they can't put anything together that like resembles, hey, maybe these guys are getting it together, figuring it out. I think like what Juanners said, they're taking advantage of playing on a baseball field, and that's when they move to their actual stadium, they will be they'll be found out. They'll be put on fraud watch because teams know how to play on that. I think the best thing for NYCFC so far this summer has been that inflatable pigeon they floated down the Hudson during the Club World Cup.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Every team needs to float inflatable pigeons down whatever body of water is near them.
What about Justin Hack, though? Come
Justin
on now.
Hack. He's still doing cool stuff, but like NYCFC is really interesting to me because they can only play on a baseball field. They thrive when the field is very small. And when they have to play on big field, they don't do good. Like that's basically what the NYCFC's story is. It's like if they can use the small field and do all their quick little combination plays, quick off-ball movements, all the 1-2s, and like just play like NYCFC usually do, because like that's still the DNA of this team, even though it's been a half of a year of Pascal Jansen so far. That's still, I guess, what they want to do. They need that small field for that. But when you have to cover tons of space on counterattacks, and you have guys like Gorno just running down your throat, it's not going to work. And Charlotte played coward ball in this one, but it was justified coward ball. So it worked, and you can't be mad at it.
Yeah, I will say the second goal was a bit unlucky for it to fall directly off of Thiago Martins' head right into Kerwin Vargas's pass, kind of the self-assist there off the pole. But beyond that, yeah, it's just kind of like a whatever game for New York City and a win for Charlotte that I don't know if the win is, they definitely needed the win, but the clean sheet, I think, speaks more here, especially against NYC, who I know it's not a small pitch, but Martinez, Ojeda, Wolf, still a very competent front three, I think. And given Charlotte's recent, shakiness, like I would have thought they had gotten one at least, but any other closing thoughts for either of these two teams before we move on?
They don't need to replace Audremont. Toklamati is that guy. Put him up top. Let him deliver. Use the 8 million else.
They're going to sign a DP9.
I've been saying, dude. I've been saying, give Toklamati the start, bro.
Give him the keys, bro.
Can we talk on Dean Smith's comments on that real quick?
What were they?
What did you say?
He said that Patrick Adjumane missed out on an opportunity with a somewhat similar contract that Charlotte was going to give him, that Derby offered him, to get regular minutes in a league that's just as good as the championship, to go to Derby and compete for a job that he might not even get consistent minutes for. Basically just throwed shade at the entire transfer. That surprised me. And
Dean
my
Smith
thought
is
process
MLS
on it
pilled.
is Dean Smith with Patrick Adjemane's, like, when he's like producing at a higher level than he has been this year, he is the kind of guy who can give you like a low end kind of DP production without being on a DP contract. So I think he's looking at it from a this year standpoint. Now he has that extra DP spot for the summer. He doesn't need to spend it on a striker. He can spend it on another position to strengthen them and, bolster their chances at making a playoff run. What do you guys make on that comment?
I think that Dean Smith came to North Carolina, tried some of their barbecue, and became MLS pilled. That's the exact vibe that I'm getting. He understood that this is the greatest soccer nation in the world, with the greatest fandom and the greatest food and the greatest freedom, and the championship is nothing compared to the beautiful way that we have made this game so wonderful. He's MLS pilled.
Crazy what a
Hell yeah.
July 4th win does for the soul of MLS soccer fans.
Hell yeah.
I don't feel that at all, but that's because my team lost. But what were you saying, Jeremy?
Yeah, as someone who is a championship enjoyer, because my English team currently occupies the championship, we'll get to them later because it's relevant. But I think that the biggest difference between the championship and MLS, because this has actually been like kind of a topic that's come up a little bit, particularly when the league's record signing right now came from the championship. Latte Loft was from Middlesbrough. I think the biggest difference is just the pace of play in the championship is higher. Like, you have teams that are going to be faster on counterattacks. They're going to just play a little bit. They'll press higher. I think there's a little bit of a more variety in systems that you'll see in the championship. And also, the best part about the championship is, like, it shouldn't be compared to MLS because I think both of them are the best leagues in the world. Now, not like, oh my God, the quality is so good, but like, if you're talking pure entertainment value, like, the championship is the most unpredictable league in the world. Just any kind of nonsense can happen unless Leicester gets relegated with like £100 million to spend, which happened, and then they got relegated again, and they're back, and it's really funny. And fuck Leicester. But I firmly believe that the way the championship is set up, it is very much a parity, anyone can win any game kind of league. And last year it was just full of a bunch of teams that were like kind of just like in the same strength. Like they were all around the same level of good. So they all just kept drawing each other over and over again. Now that's just top tier. But in MLS with like the salary cap and everything, I don't know how much Dean Smith is like telling the truth on that, because even if you want to get Ajimang on like a pretty decent deal, does that provide good value? Or are you going to take $8 million? That's Austin Powers right there. Are you going to take $8 million for a guy who, although you see how good he can be, doesn't always perform to that? I just
Plus
feel
2 million
like,
in add-ons. Plus 2 million in add-ons.
what's the 2 million in add-ons? Add-ons are so important. Anything can happen with add-ons. It's potential money, guys. So I think Dean's talking a
money.
Yeah. I think Dean is talking a little bit out of his ass here. And I do think it's more of an ownership decision than his, but like at the same time, you have a DP slot. Go use it.
I think this
you're probably. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
This is emotional Dean Smith. I think he feels like a player that he likes and kind of like raised up and chose over Karol Swiderski and allowed Karol to move on, is choosing Darby over him. And I love that he's getting emotional about it. Show a little fire, big guy. I love it.
You know, I want to pivot because I know we're talking about an ownership group that has an open DP slot, but there's also an ownership group that just isn't really aware of their DP slots. And you mentioned them earlier. Montreal we need to relegate this team, guys. We need to relegate them. If there's one team that I could erase, and this is coming from a person who loves some Montreal, okay? I want to see Montreal succeed. But if there's one team that could deserve a relegation into the Canadian Championship, it is Montreal. Now we got to talk about Orlando City because they are, for one, I had them as the OTB assignment, so we'll get to them in a bit. But I feel like we haven't really been giving them much love, and nor should we here, as they did draw at home to Montreal. But fellas, I wanted to ask, if you were Montreal, you were given the keys to the kingdom here at Montreal to lead and make an instant impact in your first year as GM, where do you go with this team? Because they're not going to spend, right? They're not going to do anything earth-shattering, even with their connections to Bologna, right? Like, is there even a guy on Bologna that you even would want for this team? Maybe
Orsolini.
Ooh, there you go.
Bring Orsolini over.
Any other Bologna ball knowers?
The real question is, do you bring another Italian winger to Eastern Canada?
Ooh, yeah. Well,
is that a recipe for success?
Well,
I'm kidding. But there's some truth there.
It is French-speaking Eastern Canada, so maybe that'll help.
Here's what I think.
In all serious,
no, go for it, Jeremy. No, you tell me.
Oh, I would sell George Campbell to West Bromwich Albion. I'd do that 100%. That's
Gee,
right.
I wonder why that's relevant.
Let him go to the biggest club in England and be an absolute menace out of the back while a bunch of English people wonder about why he doesn't. It's okay. He doesn't need to win aerials because he passes and dribbles the ball very well. And that's very, very, very cool. I'm very excited for that. Good job, Joey Saputo. You did the right thing. And for a decent price too. Hoo-hoo. But if I'm Montreal, I'm looking at what this team desperately needs. They need to go to Ignacio Piatti and say, where can I find one of you? Like, it just is that simple. Their best years have come when they've had a dynamite number 10, including a guy, you know, he's leading the league in expected assists, and some of those assists are no longer hypothetical. But yeah, I feel like they need to go out. They need to find someone to just like run this attack. And although the sale of Campbell, which I love for selfish reasons, means more minutes inevitably for Fernando Alvarez, which is not good. I feel like that their whole model of a club is basically like they're doing the Dallas thing, but without like bringing in enough quality players. So they're actual like good young academy youth players that they keep on stockpiling actually really have like a good platform to shine. So they just need to spend a little bit of money. Joey can spend a little bit of money. I'm pretty sure he can. He's got a lot of it. And I'd like to see where he spends that money. But at the same time, that money has to be spent on a number 10. Because I like Prince Owusu, and I also like that he used to play for Toronto. I think that's a pretty good side plot, but they just need a better chance creator than whatever the hell a Bryce Duke or a Caden Clark is. Because I don't know what they are, and I don't think any MLS fans really know what they are either.
Now, fellas, I want to point y'all to the fact that they did also sell Nathan Saliba, who was like, in my eyes, the Canadian Darlington Nagbe, right? And so, right next to the Trinidad and Tobago Darlington Nagbe in Ajani Fortune, right? So we're kind of losing the traditional box to box guy, and I I want to praise Victor Lotori because they've had him as a winger, but more recently he's been filling in that Saliba role, and he's been, not as fun as Saliba, but I felt like he's just finally in a good spot there. Any other Montreal thoughts? Because they are on a selling spree. Can you say rebuild again? Like, it is quickly becoming a theme here. What I would do is I would go to the Rapids out by Kevin Cabral, and that's purely, purely as a Rapids fan. But hey, maybe this dude needs to find home away from home, and Montreal is the closest thing. So why not pass the buck to someone else? Maybe that's wishful thinking, but what do y'all say?
All I just heard is if you were a GM for Montreal, you would still be a Rapids fan, and you would try to save them from their own demise.
Hey, we're getting relegated to the Canadian Championship. All right, this is the fire sale we need.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, I'll give an outside the box. Ooh, said the thing. I'll give like a more like outside the box kind of like idea because I have literally no qualms with what Jeremy said. I thought like from a professional standpoint that was probably the right thing to do. But look, Joey Saputo's a guy's guy, right? We're all guys. We're all the same. First thing I'm doing as GM, dedicating half of my salary to this man being a guy's guy. We're gonna butter him up. We're gonna dedicate half the salary to letting him see anything he wants on OnlyFans. And when transfer window comes around, he is so buttered up, and I say, "Hey, can you spend $10 million on this guy?" He's like, "You know what? We're on a bro relationship at this point. He's calling me bro. He's like, you know what, bro? I got you." Boom. That's the strategy. He's gonna see some fucked up shit on OnlyFans, and we're gonna get some transfers done.
You are also going to Dave & Buster's, and you're selling Fernando Alvarez for power card points.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know.
What are you doing, Joss?
Yeah.
I'm filming a 90s style montage, like in like a romantic movie where we rent bikes and ride around Montreal together, and I just get real close with him, and then I lean in and I whisper in his ear and I say, "Let's move to Phoenix, Arizona."
Vegas
so
is
in this
right
90s
there, though. Vegas is right there.
In this 90s montage, who's the Ryan Reynolds? Is it you or Joey Saputo?
Well, okay, so like I imagine like we're on a tandem bike, and I'm very clearly going to be the love interest. He's very clearly going to be Ryan Reynolds.
Hell yeah!
I don't know.
And
I don't know
if we have any talented artists listening,
being his bro.
Both. I feel like we can have both in 2025. Honestly,
It's like a kiss me. It's like a kiss me, bro thing.
No, exactly. And any artists listening to this, please draw fan art of this and tweet it at Juanners, and really make it gross. Make it disgusting. I want his mentions full of it.
Joss
guys,
and
I
Joey
think
Saputo.
I think we can fix. I think we can fix Montreal. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Should we buy a team?
We should buy a team
with Joey Saputo's help. That's the only way we do it.
Get to work, Joss.
I got it.
Let's talk about Orlando though, like a real serious team, guys. We're all about seriousness here on Major League Soccer. That's what the S stands for, by the way. No Gallese, Javier Otero. I think I know Gallese is having kind of a. I think he's having an okay year. He's kind of back and forth with me, honestly, but I like Javier Otero, and if it wasn't for a penalty late in the half, he would have had a clean sheet. Beyond that, we talk about depth in the league. Orlando has the depth. I know Muriel is kind of on a really long cold streak, but still, guys, something about Orlando, like they're actually playing Orlando ball. Like, I can't help but see FC Dallas when I see Orlando City. And back when FC Dallas was good. Not current FC Dallas, but anyone have any Orlando takes before we move on from the Montreal fanfic?
Yeah, I got one for Jeremy. It's a question, and then this is literally all I have. What's a more disappointing result? A 1-1 draw to Montreal if you're Orlando, or a 2-1 loss to St. Louis if you're Portland?
On the road.
A 1-1 draw if you're Orlando, but that doesn't mean I can't be very angry.
I'm not
But
trying to
this is-
unjustify your feelings. Don't worry.
No, this stinks.
It's a
This
safe. It's a
absolutely
safe
stinks.
place.
Now I know Orlando's missing Robin Janssen in this one, but I also would like to praise Oscar Pareja because he's benched Ivan Angulo for back-to-back games. That's kind of unheard of. But in this one at least, Orlando is kind of slipping out of the they're kind of falling out of like those top 4 spots, and they're kind of fading farther and farther away. Right now they are 6 points behind Columbus, and Orlando's in 6th. Miami's above them in 5th. Miami has 3 games in hand. So although there's only an 8-point gap between them and Philadelphia, their upcoming schedule could be a bit of a launch point, even though they have to go to Columbus the Friday before Leagues Cup begins. But yeah, it's interesting because they haven't played Nashville yet, and they've only played Cincinnati once. They have to go to Cincinnati after Leagues Cup is over. That's a September 27th game. So there are points for them to be won, but at the same time, like they're just extremely high floor, and they haven't gotten Duncan McGuire back yet. And I feel like once they do get Duncan McGuire back, you can very easily see a best 11 of this team being Ramiro Enrique and Duncan McGuire up top, with Ojeda, Pasalic on the wings, and then that Araujo Atuesta center midfield partnership. And that's a really good team. So I feel like Orlando still has a little bit of room to grow, but even though Montreal is struggling, this is a result that's going to come back and haunt them later in the year if they can't get top 4. And right now, the way things are going, they're not going to get top 4.
Neither is Montreal, though, if we really think about it.
So true.
That's a good point.
I wanted to give one take, and this is from the MLS blog, but Luis Muriel over the past 2 months has accumulated 0.83 XG and scored
Beyond
That's
cold, bro.
insane.
My boy's Antarctica, bro.
That is insane.
That's over 2 months. Like, I think it was on a former episode. It was after Luis Muriel scored that. You guys remember that free kick he scored against the Galaxy that Bond totally flopped, or was it? It wasn't Bond.
McCarthy, yes.
McCarthy, that he totally just flubbed on. I think during that episode I was like, I just wasn't that sold on Muriel. I really thought he was going to be better here, and then like as I was saying that, he was in the middle of like a hot streak. But this is colder than cold, bro. And at what point do you cut your losses on this guy? Because he just hasn't been what I think Orlando need him to be.
Bro, Joss, he's a $4 million cap hit.
God, is he? Oh my God.
No,
bro.
he's not a cap hit. He's a DP. He's a DP. He has the
Okay.
same cap as like a senior max player, but he's making a ton of money, and you can definitely find better uses for that DP. Like, I don't know, maybe another winger, because Martin Ojeda is playing on the wing right now, and Oscar Pareja cannot have that. So, yeah, no, I'm kidding though. They should probably just find another midfielder or something like that. Because when you have Enrique and McGuire, like that's fine. That's fine. Or you can just pivot to the 2-4-2 roster model, pick up some GAM.
Or
Oh no,
go get Luciano Acosta.
Free him.
you want to free Lucho?
him.
Free
Free him.
Lucio.
Juanners, where the fuck did you even pull that from, dude?
I don't know. Every time we talk about a team, I'm gonna say just go get Lucho, because that would solve
That's
so
what
many
you need to
issues
do.
around so many teams. But it wouldn't have solved Dallas, which is why I'm like still so upset with that one, man.
That's who we need to like encourage Joey Saputo to go get. That's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lucho
he's
on
Montreal
Montreal,
right
up.
bro? That'd be insane.
He's the Ignacio Piatti.
No, we all know the real Ignacio Piatti is currently playing in the Brazilian second division. Everyone, we need Yamil Assad back in this league.
Really? He's in the second division.
He is. I just looked him up because I was like, where? I got curious.
I would actually want that at Montreal because they do need a left winger, and I love Assad. So,
Dude, I'm saying, bring
my
him back.
God.
Bring in Carne Estrada.
Tears.
bro, we are cooking up for all these GMs. We will get the commission piece soon enough once we open the consulting services up. But let's move on. Let's go to the bottom of the table. We talked about Montreal. It's time to talk about the Galaxy, who have finally figured it out. I know Joss mentioned Jonathan Bond, but that's not his. That's not the backup goalie. It's Novak Mitrovic, who not really. I mean, I don't blame Josh for forgetting Novak's here.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't be. It's completely fine. I mean, I thought it was Bond for the longest time too, until I have to remind myself he's on Houston for a what's the keeper he's ahead of? Blake Gillingham, right? God, we were robbed
Blake
of a
Gillingham.
season.
But by the way, Bond is the worst goalkeeper in the league per post-shot expected goal differential, and they didn't need to bring him in. That's funny.
Free Gillingham. Bring him to
Free
Montreal.
Blake Gillingham.
Bring him to our hypothetical Montreal.
Dude, we are cooking for Montreal. I don't get what Joey Saputo's not saying. But beyond that, I mean, it's really hard to talk about the Galaxy because they're finally now playing some good footy. They figured out that the two dynamic eight like midfielders in Royce and Fagundes work really well. It was kind of the role that Puig was in, so they tried getting the double pivot with behind Royce. That didn't work out for the longest time, as was evident. And now they're cooking, but it's still just too late. And more that contract extension just feels like it was just for the cup, and I didn't think they'd expect this season, and it's where we're at right now. It's not fun anymore because you used to watch the Galaxy just lose and lose and lose, and then they pop their cherry first win of the season, and ever since it's been like, oh damn, they actually can play when they want to. They're having the season they probably should have outside of the L's, but is anyone else looking at LA Galaxy any more than what I am? I know Daniel really likes them because they're fun, but I'm not having any more fun with them, I should say.
I'm willing to do a tattoo bet on the LA Galaxy. If these guys manage to swindle their way into the playoffs, I will get an LA Galaxy tattoo somewhere.
Oh, no way.
Do we want the math on that? I'm willing to provide the math on this right now. Looking at the table.
Provide the math on it, and then we'll make it. We'll put it on Twitter. Provide the math for it eventually.
All right.
Not right now. We don't need it right now. Or
right.
Put in the chat or something.
I gotta do it. All I'm saying is that this could be tattoo worthy.
Oh, this would be the greatest individual team comeback of all time, and that's why it's not going to happen. Because it's the LA Galaxy. They don't do stuff like this.
Yeah, that's about as much Galaxy as I can take, honestly. Like, just happy they're kind of irrelevant in the season where they really should have been. They should have been defending their championship. But
I saw Pirani scored a goal. Was it a common Pirani banger, or was it just a normal goal?
I mean, we'll get to DC. I mean, we can talk about them because they did. Let's talk about them now. Let's get these fucking bottom feeder teams out of the way, because I think of the two teams, Galaxy are definitely more fun to watch than DC United. The same DC United that let go of Fidel Barajas. Stupid decision. But new head coach, he's not there yet. Is it Remy Weiler? Please. The Swiss guy.
Rene Wheeler.
Thank you. He comes from, I was looking at his profile. Comes from Servette FC. He was a general manager there. And if you know anything about Servette, is they have slowly ascended towards the top of the Swiss Super League. Kind of at this point in the MLS current structure, I would say the Swiss League, outside of like two teams, has largely been below level than MLS. So, I mean, he's kind of taken a step up in some aspects coming to MLS, but I don't want to diminish what he did with Servette, because Servette came in as one of the bottom feeder teams and quickly, like, he turned them around. And can't name you one player because I'm a strong Basel and Young Boys supporter. Not supporter, but I guess that's where my bias leans. But how are you guys feeling about?
Both Basel and Young Boys? Is that allowed?
Well, I'm not a supporter. I just keep tabs on those teams because I think those are, I mean, two of the top teams of the Swiss Super League. I can't keep track of all of them, dude. I'm much more interested in the Belgian league than anything. But Swiss Super League, like, how are you feeling about that, guys? Just generally for René Weiler.
Man, I don't have any opinions on it because I just think the MLS just operates so much differently than leagues in Europe that you don't really know until you see it play out in person. But it's got to be an upgrade over Lesesnig, right?
I was about to say,
right?
Are we at least happy that Lesane is gone? No more Lesane in the membrane. They got over that real quick.
All it took was just getting thwacked at Nashville in the Open Cup. They Lane Kiffined him. They didn't let him on.
They didn't let him on the plane. Didn't we say in the very, very first podcast we ever did with each other when we did our preseason predictions that Lesane was going to get fired? Or he was going to end the season on the hot seat at least? I think we need to give ourselves some flowers for that.
I was on the Pablo.
That was a good call.
My pick was Pablo. I'm surprised. I mean, he's now turning it around. We'll talk about Salt Lake, but my pick was Pablo from the start, so I can't really take much credit for... I mean, it wasn't hard to doubt Lesane, right? Because a lot of it was cross the ball into Benteke, and he'll air Benteke that shit. And now that he's back, I mean, like I've always said, Pirani and Benteke on the field, and I know Benteke didn't start, but they just don't, like, you're forcing Pirani to do shit that he's not. I mean, this dude pulls up from far and shoots. This dude's a wizard. This dude can dribble. This dude and Peglo work really well together. Now just give him like a pressing forward to just make work for them, easier. But how are we feeling about DC, fellas?
Go ahead, Josh.
No, you go.
Okay. So the question does need to be asked because he was our Golden Boot winner in 2024. Is the era of Christian Benteke just over? What do you guys think? Is he done? Is he washed?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think people I think the teams realized that he was really DC's only outlet at all. And so if aside from Pirani defying the laws of physics and scoring a common Pirani banger, if you can neutralize Benteke, then you can beat DC United pretty handedly. And I think it speaks, and I'll talk about this when we talk about Chicago, because there's another Belgian striker who actually gets the chances to score and he puts them away. Benteke has not done that so far this season, and I think it speaks to the evolution of strikers in this league and the style that most of the players at the top of the Golden Boot race are no longer just like one-touch finishers from inside the box. It's kind of a dying art now.
Yeah, you got to do a lot more than just that. And
yeah,
like, I mean, his statistical, I can't even say that word. His anomaly was aerial duels 1, right? I think he still leads in that, but people have quickly figured out how to snuff that out. So I think it's just at that point. And here's the thing: they've been without Benteke, so it's like, what's the plan B? And I think that's what got Lesane fired, is that there was no plan B. And for the longest time, he benched Pirani, who was probably his most talented player, next to Benteke, right? I'd say Benteke is probably the 1A, Pirani's the 1B, and he was even just being dropped completely from DC. So, I mean, yeah, DC, they are a lot better than what the table is, how they're set up. Aaron Herrera, again, needs to be freed. One of the best fullbacks in the league, and he's just been fucking chumming it up on terrible teams. beyond that, though, yeah, I mean, 2 bottom feeder teams, right? Cross conference, a nice little throwback given the original status of both teams. But let's move on to Toronto and Atlanta United. Got Daniel on this one. Tell us about either Toronto or Atlanta. I have some Toronto thoughts, but is the gaffer Ronnie still? I mean, is that still the meme in Atlanta?
I actually pulled up a very, very old article. I came up with this on Sunday, and I was just so proud of the analogy that we made. So think of, in this scenario, think of Atlanta as Australia, and think of Toronto as the Emus. So the Emo War was a 1932 military operation in Western Australia where the Australian Army attempted to control a large population of the emus that were damaging crops. Despite deploying soldiers and machine guns, the army was largely unsuccessful in their efforts, leading to the emus effectively winning the conflict. Atlanta is the machine guns and the soldiers, and Toronto was the emus, and it feels like this was a Toronto win just because Atlanta has 5 DPs and they can't beat anybody, and it is so funny. Oh, sorry guys.
They only started 4, Daniel. They only started 4.
It is so funny. Sorry. That's literally all I have. This was the battle of mid, and it was just so funny to watch. From Latte last offsides goal to fucking Saba had a sitter in front of him just like Kevin Kelsey did, and he didn't even dive for it. Latte lost it right across the net, and he just basically watched it go in front of the net while he was like sprinting for it. He pretty easily could have just slid and probably knocked it in the goal. And it kind of just goes to show like this Atlanta team just kind of gave up, and it's horrible and it's sad and it stinks because of how much money they spent, and it's probably a massive gaffer Ronnie problem. The only bright side that I took away thinking, wow, that kid's pretty good, is I thought Hibbert played pretty well, and if he's the Guzan replacement, it's nice to see them get some fresh blood in there. I would love to hear your Toronto thoughts, because I didn't have a whole lot outside of they're just a gritty team and they hung with an Atlanta team that's not very good.
Well, would anyone else like to chime in? Because I could go on Toronto just a little bit, but if anyone has Atlanta takes or Toronto.
I do have a question for you, Juanners. Is Kosi Thompson part of your Toronto thoughts?
No.
Okay. Well, he had a good game in this one because he played a very bad, like, $50 million attack and looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Richie Laray at center back, which I don't know how I feel about that. Beyond that, though, I just want to highlight Corbianu, who is a player that they can really build around if they really wanted to. And I don't know, ever since he's been on the right, there's been just a completely different dynamic to Toronto. You also got Matty Longstaff filling in, and I kind of see a little bit of what Robin's doing with him. He's kind of turning him into a little bit of a Jack Price. I mean, this is one of those set-piece goals, classic out of Robin. He's got his English midfielder just dishing him out. So I feel like if they lean in on the set pieces, they had like 30% possession here, right? They were fine giving Atlanta all the weaponry, all the shots, all the space, all the advantage. And still, like, they only lost because Charles Sharp with a really bad tackle. Like, otherwise, this was going to be a win. And it's tough because I want to see it as a win. I think this is, like, a moral victory, but with where they're at, fuck, I cannot speak. With where they're at, you can't take moral victories. This has to be a win against the team right above you in the standings. Like 2 points clear of Atlanta, it helps my prop because that pushes Atlanta closer down towards the bottom. I said Atlanta would finish below these two teams, and it would have helped if Toronto won. But beyond that, I mean, I love Corbianu. He's one of my guys. So hoping that, whoever they bring in to replace Bernadeschi and Signé work well off him and make sense for him. You guys ready to move? You guys ready to move on? Let's talk. Who do we have next? Talks Toronto. I mean, does anyone else have any more Atlanta thoughts? Because we can move on to Dallas. I did have Jeremy on Dallas.
Would you like gruel? I have porridge.
Tell us about Dallas in as. Should we do it in as few words as you can? Like, should we really give it this team much? I mean, I'm here for it because I talk so much shit on this defense, and they've proven it right every time. But how is the Lucio Acosta off the bench led Dallas here?
Do you think it would be good? It's not good. I like how Eric Quill picks his team because he draws names out of a hat and he just puts them, on a little tactics board, and he's like, "That's about right." So, this is probably the most like nothing game of the weekend because what you thought was going to happen happened, and like you could tell exactly what was going to happen too. Like, cool, Nathan Ord scores a pretty easy, like, well created chance. It's a cutback, easy, bang, 1-0, 31st minute, good. Denny Buwanga goes to ground. He wins a penalty. This game is over at halftime. This game was over from the opening whistle. Nothing matters. But Aaron Long went off early. He could be hurt.
Yeah.
That's concerning. Yeah, other than that, this game was a whole bunch of nothing, and Dallas are still bad, and LAFC still have tons of games in hand. They're going to be rising up the table. Igor Jesus is still very good. Denny Buwanga is Denny Buwanga, and I watched this game, but like I don't need to say like a ton about it. This is my assignment. Is just this happened. This was a game that happened, and you definitely did not need to know anything more.
Urugide, another game without him. And
that's right.
So long as they're without him, this Dallas team is not worth watching. Unless you want to bet on LAFC, which I did. They were part of one of my parlays, and usually you get one of these, you never know what happens in Major League Soccer, but I think everyone knew what was going to happen here with this one. Let's move ahead. Let's talk Sporting Kansas City. When I was in my fugue state at the tailgate, the one assignment I knew I had to get down was Joss on SKC. I did have him on Colorado as well, but so I'll be interested to hear in the Colorado takes as well. But tell us about SKC here, and tell us why SKC seem to be the best shit talkers in the league. Because if you're not rattling club legends online on Instagram, then you are probably directly helping out your team in a red card offense to a one Mr. Nuhu. Definitely helps out the Rapids. So shout out to Casey Cauldron. Official little salute over to Josh here for the analysis. Maybe not the result you wanted, but tell us, SKC, how were they?
Let me begin by setting the scene a little bit. It's the 90th minute +4 of stoppage time. SKC are 3-1 down, and the ball has just gone out of bounds for a goal kick on those little ball stands that MLS has, where players can just reach over and get quick restarts from. Nuhu is grabbing a ball from there and decides to freak out and throw it at a fan. And no one's really sure what's happening. There's a lot of questions around what was said and what happened. Sounders fans who weren't at the game claim there was racism. People who actually heard it claim there wasn't. Nuhu, and Jeremy and I discussed this. Nuhu has joined a very prestigious list in terms of being an all-time MLS enemy. I feel like he's made the enemy list pretty handily.
He's a wanker.
He is. He is
a wanker.
The first ever Johnny Russell MLS enemy list, and Nuhu is up there as well. It's named after Russell, but Nuhu is on there, like a memorial thing. But from that was probably the best moment for SKC, especially given that first half where Seattle absolutely dog walked the team. And Jordan Morris scored, and it's like his 9th goal against us, and that's so annoying. It's so annoying when a player just has your team's number. And
not only did he score it, he started.
He did start, and that's huge for Seattle. A Seattle team who I think are 4th in the West right now, and have quietly been putting together a real climb up the table. It's huge for them because he started. He didn't play the full 90, but he did start, and Seattle have been holding pretty steady without him in the lineup, and that just bodes well for his comeback, as he is Mr. Seattle Sounder right now, honestly. He's like, I think with that goal he reached 100 goal competition, not competitions, 100 goal contributions in all competitions, in a Sounders shirt, and they're just so much better with him in the lineup playing. And I'm sick of Jordan Morris. I think that JMO Smooth 13, as he's known on Twitter, he doesn't need to be doing all of these things to my beloved Wizards. We're just trying to make the playoffs, man. But yeah, he scores. Then Daniel Shallowy decides that he wants to play keeper, even though John Polskamp's been really good this year. And Albert Rusnak dispatches the penalty, and then they absolutely burn us on a counterattack in like the 45th minute +8, leading to an easy tap in for Jesus Ferreira. And so SKC are 3-0 down at halftime. Not a good look. They managed to claw back with 2 penalties. Dejan Joveljic, who again is ascending the goal scoring charts, kind of a one-man show at this point. Ascending the goal scoring charts for SKC, slowly trying to make his way up to win the Golden Boot. And in that second half, the Sounders were just they were just sloppy. They were just not as good as they were in that first half. And Schmetzer pointed out in his post-match conference that SKC, like, these are guys fighting for their jobs, like Kerry Zavagnin. He doesn't have the full. He's fighting to keep his job, and the Sounders just weren't prepared for that in that second half. But final thoughts: we lost the game with 1 more XG, so I know what it feels like to get Zavagnin balled now, Juanners. And Memo Rodriguez leave the game before the game leaves, bro.
Just
Dear
like that.
God.
I mean, I don't get what, like, he started in the 6th this game, even though Jake Davis is back. They gave Jacob Bartlett a rest. Jake Davis actually came on at halftime, and SKC were much improved. I don't know why Memo start, I'll be honest. I get that he's a good player to have rotationally, but in 2025, I don't know if he's the guy. He's not the guy to be turning to get meaningful starts, especially if you're trying to make the playoffs again.
Joss.
Bartlett was suspended with yellow card accumulation, by the way.
Right. Thank you. Yes, Dan.
Joss. Are we watching a Joveljic like generational run given the talent that's around him? Because if I would have told you at this point of the season that he would have more goals than Kevin Dakey, Hugo Kuipers, and as many goals as Ty Baribo and for Evander, you would say, you guys would have called me fucking crazy, right? Like
Benteke 2.0.
Yeah.
Oh shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. What'd you say, Juan?
Benteke 2.0.
Benteke 2.0. Lost 4-3, scored all 3. Like, Jesus, dude. I think we are watching a Joveljic. I mean, he's on 13 goals, 2 assists, and then I think the next closest is Daniel Shallowy with 5. So, you tell me. That feels generational to me. Granted, he has scored a few penalties and he's missed 1. Shout out to Pantemis. But what'd you say?
Hands.
Yeah, and I was right in front of me too, so thanks for that. But yeah, it is a bit of a generational run, Daniel. I've been really impressed with the signing. I mean, like getting him in as in a cash deal, like the first of its kind in the league, getting him in to a team that has foundered in front of goal in recent years, had just lost Pulido, just lost or was going to lose Agata. I mean, there was a moment where we were like, is Mason Toy going to be our meaningful starter for most of the league, for most of the season? And that's a scary thought to have. So it feels generational, especially like you said, given the talent around him. I think that we need to, as much as Daniel Shaloui's done for the club, it does feel like his time has passed. I thought that maybe him getting engaged earlier last week would have done something, maybe like some dad powers. I don't know, but
the love boost. He was going to get the love boost. He never got it.
I know. I was waiting for it. So I think that there needs to be some overhaul, but like I did appreciate the dog factor that SKC had in that second half, and I just think if they can bottle that much intensity, let Manu Garcia do Manu Garcia things, and leave Memo out back, like it's not the season's not lost yet. You know, it's not dire straits quite yet, but we are about to hit probably the hardest part of our schedule so far. The Sounders were kind of the first game, and then we got to play Vancouver away, San Diego at home, Orlando away, Sounders away, and then Rapids at home. So it's a tough schedule coming up for sure.
Let's shift on over to New England, who traveled to Austin, got a 0-0 here, and now we can look at Caleb Porter, and maybe what do you think, Jeremy? What's the diagnosis here? Because they're one win, and let me count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One win in their last 12 across all competitions. We had that first streak of wins where it was like, damn, this team is just not losing, and now we're kind of in the valleys of it. Tell us about New England, Austin on the road.
This is my fault because I asked for the assignments this week, and I forgot to say no Austin. So this is okay, but actually this might be the one time where I'm like, yeah, sure, Austin, cool. Based on the way this turned out, but I think New England are stuck at a crossroads in between. Do I still believe in the Caleb Porter cycle, or am I going to fire him and completely miss the inevitable MLS Cup that comes next year? This was ugly. I feel like this game is something where like both teams, it's kind of just like this is what you are at this point. And both teams are incredibly unlucky not to win this because it turned into a goalkeeper duel between Brad Stuver and Alija Zivacic. And both of them secured their teams the result that they needed. Nice to see Chonkalai back. He looked pretty dangerous. Langoni, I'd say that's his second quality start in a row. Well, they played Miami midweek. I didn't even register that. So second quality start out of 3. Good for him. Will Sands exists. That's all. But yeah, their next game is they face the Red Bulls. They're going to New York, Harrison, New Jersey, and they're going to play at Sports Illustrated Stadium, and they'll be without Mamadou Fofana. So that's not great for them. And then they play Orlando on the weekend before they play Montreal, DC, and LAFC. If they want to make the playoffs, they have to win 3 out of those 4 home games against Orlando, Montreal, DC, and LAFC. I think they could, but once again, that's just me. That's just me. I ride or die for Caleb Porter. You know this. So, yeah. There's really like not much here. I just want to talk about Austin, guys.
Yeah, let's stick with Austin. Let's stick with Austin because I mean, they're not too far from the table here in the supporter shield, but Uzuni, man, if there was ever a time for you to break into the start after Vasquez's season-ending injury, that's a tough blow. I know he clowned on the guy, but still, like, I don't blame Vasquez for a lot of the issues on Austin. I blame Austin for just not setting up Vasquez to succeed. And Uzuni, man, like, this was the game. This is the game where you come out and you say, Brandon Vasquez, who, like, I got us. There's a reason you got me as, like, pretty much Brandon Vasquez, but Albanian. But tell us about Austin.
They are through to the Open Cup semifinals after a wild 4-2 victory on penalties after a 2-2 regulation. After extra time, the game ended 2-2 in San Jose, and because Brad Stuver is the best player on this team, and he always will be. In that game, by the way, Uzuni scored the late equalizer in the 150th minute to send the game to penalties. So, wow, just unbelievable for him. What a week. And then he comes out in their next home game, their league game, actually have after reaching an Open Cup semifinal, just somehow, like what the fuck? And he comes out, and in the 16th minute, he receives a perfect chance from Osman Bukhari. It gets stuffed. The man is just addicted to missing sitters right now. He's played 17 games. He has 1 goal and 1 assist. He has accumulated 5.37 non-penalty XG, 35 shots, 14 on target. He's only scored 1 goal. Wow.
Woo!
However, in this game, even though Vasquez is now cooked for the season, which unfortunately means he will not be the MLS star captain, Diego Rubio got to be back into the team. And, I mean, he did stuff. He was there. Not a very good Diego Rubio game, but I think another aspect of this that bears mentioning is how Osman Bukhari just doesn't like to shoot that much, and how Austin fans are begging him to shoot because they want him to score goals, but he'd rather just
pace demon
pass. Yeah, he's just a speedy boy. He's a speedy right winger, but he's playing on the right wing, that's very good, Nico. You figured that out. Other than that, this was just a goalkeeper duel between two teams who just cannot finish all the chances that they create. Should have been a win, and yeah, this should have been an Austin win. Good job, Uzuni. Good job. This is $12 million from La Liga Dos, where stars are made.
There is drama there, Jeremy. So the question is Uzuni, is he soft or is he locked in? Because he just deleted all of his socials.
He is locked in. He's locking in.
Hat trick, and who are they playing? I'm gonna bet that hat trick. Oh, against the Galaxy. Come on now, boys. We gotta ride the Uzuni hat trick. At least his goal, his anytime.
This Wednesday's gonna be a movie.
Oh my god, the game of the year. Here we go. the locked in Uzuni game. Does he miss 6 sitters? We'll see.
Double hat trick of missed sitters.
But it's also no coincidence that some of Austin's, I mean, like, let's take a look at their recent results, right? Like, we haven't done like a full Austin checkup in a while because they haven't played for a pretty long time.
We don't have to.
That's also good.
Unless you really want to.
I'm just saying that they haven't been terrible recently. I mean, they've lost their last 2 losses were to San Diego and Seattle, both of them on the road, which I expect them to lose. Before that, their last loss was on May 10th again in Cincinnati. Once again, another game you kind of expect them to lose. But I would like to talk about Danny Pereira, who is a super draft pick and a very good super draft pick. He's very good. He's their best midfielder. And I came into this year hyping up Sabovic to an unreal degree. He's not that guy, and I'm kind of happy he isn't that guy. Because he would have been a West Bromwich Albion player if I had gotten my wish. But instead, he can't even start in front of Ilie Sanchez. And that is an Ilie Sanchez who is 34 years old. So
It's a smart move by Ilya.
what a smart choice by Ilie going to Austin. So, yeah. Good job, Danny Pereira.
I got a flash question again for y'all. Nico Estevez or Eric Quill?
God, dude.
You have an expansion team. These are the two coaches. These are the two resumes that you're picking between.
Is this for our hypothetical Montreal team?
Yeah,
Or-
because we already did the Cheeto and Robinson. So now you're at Montreal. These are your options. So sorry. At our hypothetical Montreal, which is the name of the pod. Awesome. Nico Estevez or Eric Quill? Jeremy.
See, I'm still going Estevez.
Damn. Okay.
Like, I've kind of done like Austin still plays like very boring ball, but I also have to feel like I wouldn't be building this roster the same way Austin did, so I wouldn't have to kind of force. I'd actually buy a number 10 instead of Uzuni. So yeah, I feel like if I gave Estevez like actually a pretty decent like roster build, he'd be fine with it.
Lucho Acosta.
Well, yeah, I would not be bringing Lucho Acosta off the bench if that's what you're asking.
What about Daniel? Nico Estevez or Eric Quill? You can't.
I'm going to take Eric.
Can't
I'm taking Eric Quill. Yeah, I'm taking Eric Quill for one reason and one reason alone. He played his college ball at Clemson. And go Tigers.
Joss?
That's all I got.
I'm taking Nico Estevez because Eric Quill and Dallas don't seem to really have a strategy. And it's hard to see any patterns of play, any joy coming out of that Dallas side. I think at least with Estevez, there is some sort of tactical something there. You at least kind of have an idea what you're getting into when you watch Austin. And with Eric Quill in Dallas, it's not the same. So I also just think the experience of Estevez is better.
Okay, then. I think I will go Quill. Just to balance them out. But beyond
Okay,
that,
I'm going Quill now too.
okay. Fuck you, Jeremy. No one's going Nico Estevez anymore.
I'm going Eric Quill because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
How does that relate?
Peter Quill.
Peter
Quill.
I would have never gotten that. Gun to my head, I would have been gone. RSL, Houston Dynamo. Let's talk about both of them. They're right on top of each other in the supporters' shield here. What is there to say about RSL beyond they're finally kind of getting into a groove? They haven't lost since they gave up the first loss to give the Galaxy their first win. And in that span, they did it without Luna. He came back in. I don't know how effective he was here. But, Daniel, what are you making of Salt Lake? And what are you making of Jack McGlynn, who's also back in the 11, but back in a position that we've all kind of been like, I don't know if that's it. Playing a bit deeper there, but what'd you make of this one?
Not a whole lot to make on this one outside of it is nice seeing Jack McGlynn back where he belongs. He was, in my opinion, clearly the best player for Houston this go around. It's just nice seeing Jack McGlynn and Diego Luna. When you watch Major League Soccer, year round, and you see these international breaks where teams leave or players leave for like the Gold Cup, you fail to recognize how much talent some of these middle Pac clubs miss during those international breaks when you lose guys like Jack McGlynn and Diego Luna. So even though these were complete rosters, and I mean, for how much you guys hyped up the Houston Dynamo just last week, this turns out to be a very, very good win for Real Salt Lake. But I mean, it's nice to see, these guys have their stars back in play, or at least guys who should be their stars, because if we're being real, Jack McGlynn's the best player for Houston, and I don't think anyone can really deny that at this point based off how he's performed with that team this year. And Diego Luna is the central playmaker for Real Salt Lake. I think Salt Lake really has a guy in Agata, and we talked last week about Gozo, and this might not have been his best game, but I do think that these guys have a young core. If they can keep it going, it's enough to create a spine. And that's all you need to be good in the MLS, as we've learned, is you need to have that great spine to propel yourself forward and then build around it. So I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep these guys together, because they're young and they're going to gain value. But, overall, I mean, it was just two middle of the pack teams, so there's not really a whole lot to take away from it. But I thought it was a nice win for El Salt Lake, and it's just nice seeing these guys, back where they belong, instead of rotting on an Open Cup bench like McGlynn did.
I will say Emeka and Ellie got some minutes very late, very in stoppage time, actually. But he is another player that just adds a lot to that Salt Lake spine. And so, when he went down, I was kind of, on a personal, on like a player level, sad, because I hate seeing players go down. But on a hater level, I was like, damn, RSL are going to be a little bit rocky without him. And they were, to some extent, until Luna left and Porrig kind of figured it out, or Pablo figured it out a bit. Yeah. But beyond that, I think Salt Lake are due for a good bounce back. And everything I said about Houston last week, I think still is a little bit true, because, I mean, coming off the road, this is their second road game, losing to Salt Lake after beating San Diego in that crazy match. Sure, it's it's whatever, but I still believe that talent there is the talent is there for Houston. I just can't deny it. I hope this team is not gonna shove in my face when they fucking crash or something. But
is it me? And I haven't looked at ages, but both these teams are incredibly young, aren't they?
I think Houston might
for their
be
starting
older.
11s. But the average age on these teams can't be more than 25 for both of them. At least in the starting 11s that were out this past week. I
think RSL's oldest field players that started were 28. And that's Gonsalves, Junqua, and Justin Glad.
And then Houston have Artur, 29, Dwayne Holmes, 30, Franco Escobar, 30, Jonathan Bond, 32, Ponce, 28.
Oh, Ponce's 28. Man, that's kind of disappointing. I always look at him and I pair him with Kevin Kelsey, because they came in there at the same time. And they were both talents when they came into the league. So I always just look at Ponce like he's a younger guy. I didn't even realize he was 28.
I thought Ponce was going to cook.
Artur's.
I thought he was going to cook when he came to the league too.
Artur's what?
I can't believe Artur's only 29.
You thought he was
he's been here forever.
Yeah, I mean
That was 31.
Yeah, I mean, for Houston, I think they're better off dropping Ponce and putting Linger up top. Fuck it. Because, I mean, he didn't start here, and I guarantee you they missed him. And if that means I got to be wrong about Ponce's potential and he gets moved somewhere else, that'd be nice. But let's move ahead. Let's talk about San Jose. Got Jeremy on this one. They did go to Minnesota. Talk to us about San Jose. We got battered here by Minnesota.
They simply got deadballed to death. This is just what happens when you play Minnesota now. You have to be able to defend set pieces. San Jose did not. They went down in the third minute thanks to Tani. Oluwaseyi. That's gonna catch on. I know it will. But yeah, Tawny, by the way, a goal and 2 assists in this one. He's unbelievable. The rest of San Jose, which made this really interesting, because I do think, although Minnesota wins this game, the main story is San Jose, because of who they did not have. After playing the full 120 plus PKs against Austin midweek and losing, which San Jose was not very happy about due to a couple of refereeing decisions, and also Christian Espinoza exiting due to injury. He had a big old gash on his leg. He did not play in this game, and they missed him because Usaini Buddha, who Juanners really likes, seems to only really come alive against the Portland Timbers. He has his best game of the year, a goal and an assist against the Timbers on May 3rd. Then he had another good game against the Timbers in their Open Cup victory. And then he was on the field for 4 minutes against the Timbers last month and helped Preston Judd get the game equalizer while down a man. That was really annoying. But he stunk in this. He is not Christian Espinoza. Very few players are. They also had to start Benji Kikanovic at right wing back in this. He went off hurt. So I do believe that as long as Espinoza isn't in this San Jose team, they will never be the best version of themselves. And that includes whatever the hell Joseph Martinez is now. Because he scored against Dallas on June 25th. Cool. He scored against St. Louis on May 31st. Cool. Maybe this point I'm trying to make about Joseph Martinez being bad isn't actually such a good point, but I don't think he's very good, at least this year. And I think in Espinoza's absence, Chicho Arango needs to step up a bit more. He did not step up in this game. Kind of hard to step up in this game when you immediately get punched in the mouth by a set piece and by Tani Oluwaseyi. Yep. Pretty par for the course here. An early goal helps so much. A 3-0 lead at halftime helps a ton. So, yeah. You need to do whatever you can to get Christian Espinoza back on this pitch.
Let's move ahead to Chicago. I had Joss on this one, and another home loss for Chicago against San Diego FC. Tell us about Chicago here, who I really like the Kuipers finish, but beyond that, I mean, if there's another guy you could point to being Benteke 2.0, it definitely looks like Kuipers could be it. But I still think Chicago have quality, man. What'd you make of this one as an Anders Dreyer double puts them away here?
Anders Dreyer, and then Juan, when you're editing this, can you put in some like MVP chants when I say his name? So Anders Dreyer, just like that. Can I get it? Thank you. This guy, my pick for MVP so far this year, and he gets 2 more goals. Just another day in the office for this guy, honestly. As he comes out on top in the battle of the Danish wingers, who are both formerly of Anderlecht, I believe.
I think Zinkernagel was. I don't think he was Anderlecht, but
Was he not Anderlecht?
He was Club Brugge.
Club Brugge.
He was on a lot of teams.
Belgians.
He was on a lot of teams, so I don't blame you for forgetting.
I'm sorry, Belgians. I apologize to all the Belgians who are listening. Right, but the battle of Danish wingers who formerly played in the Belgian Pro League. Anders Dreyer comes out on top. What can this performance for San Diego? Just super professional. They knew that Chicago's wingbacks allowed for a lot of space in behind them, and that's where they capitalized. Anders Dreyer got 2 goals. Herving Lozano got 2 assists. San Diego has now 4 straight wins on the road. They're just professional and they're well coached, and I think that the players would die for Mikey Varas, and I think that's a huge intangible. And also just feels like they have a chip on their shoulder because obviously they listen to our preseason predictions, where on average we put them at 14th in the West. So our bad, San Diego. We just didn't expect this from you guys. I did see some folks on MLS Instagram floating around the idea of like, hey, our real cup contenders. They might be Shield contenders, but I do think that there is a lot to put on to playoff experience. We saw it with St. Louis in 2023, and where you might have a great regular season, but then when it gets to the real cut and dry, the real cutthroat time, it gets a little more spicy and anything can really happen. So I'm still not 100% moved on them being MLS Cup contenders yet, but I do think that they could really challenge. They're challenging for the Shield right now, and they could push it a long way. Chicago, on the other hand, they've lost 4 in their last 5, but those losses have come against teams who are occupying 1st through 4th in the Shield standings. So take it with a grain of salt. There's obviously no better evidence for them to be a mid-table, upper mid-table playoff team. They have 8 wins, 5 losses, and 4 draws on the season. Otherwise, aside from this stretch, so not terrible for them, and they have a pretty easy schedule going on the rest of the year. Really, there's only the time when they have to go play Philadelphia and then back. But yeah, like Juan was mentioning, Hugo Kuiper's 12 goals on the year, and he also had the fewest touches of anyone on the field to play 90 minutes. So Christian Benteke, I'm not just saying that because they're both Belgian. They are guys that they get in the spots to deliver. However, if you can't get the ball to them, then it's pretty easy to negate their effectiveness on the game as a whole. So San Diego, just well coached, professional, well done.
And can I complain about something real quick?
Yeah.
No.
Go for it.
If it wasn't for Lionel Messi, Anders Dreyer should absolutely deserve the same exact kind of hype that Dennis Buenga got pre-Leo Messi. And I hate that he's not getting it. This boy needs his flowers, man. He is electric. That's all I got. I just hate it. I just hate that he's not getting the same attention that Dennis Buenga used to.
Maybe we should send him flowers.
Playing just as good or better. We should send him flowers. Someone get his address. I'll go camp outside of his house.
Just send it to San Diego with a little shirt. We'll give him a shirt.
Give him some merch.
Oh yeah.
Let's move on though to Colorado Rapids, who I could talk about. But I'm interested to hear Josh because I put him down here for this match. What'd you make of Colorado Rapids' 3-0 victory over Vancouver, who have Berhalter and White, so can't use that excuse no more. I'm sure we'll talk about the Whitecaps some more, but tell me about Colorado here.
Let's chat Colorado first. I feel like I'm performing for like a professor or something like that, and he's gonna yell at me if I get a thing wrong. So 5 losses and 7 for the Rapids as they came into this game. However, they run out 3-0 winners. Big shout out to Cole Bassett, actually, who I thought was really good. I thought he covered a lot of ground defensively, and his distribution and when he was playing in sort of a double pivot. I thought his distribution was really helpful. And I also forget that he is still only 23 years old, which blew my mind kind of when I read that because it feels like he's been around forever. He is actually turning 24 in 2 weeks to the day. So Juanners, if you want, get him a little birthday gift. I don't think that'd be too out of the ordinary. Some merch for Cole Bassett.
Big old banter shirt.
Yeah, perfect. I really was impressed with how good Bassett was in this game. And special shout out to, Georgi Mihailovic. He's the guy for Colorado. He's the game winner. He got a hat trick of assists, and these are real assists, not like woke hockey assists that MLS counts for some reason. When he's on it and he's not missing penalties against John Pulskamp's aura, then the Rapids have a lot to run on, especially because if he's playing well, he can elevate players like Navarro, who did what he needed to do in this game, or Teddy Ku Di Pietro, who, by the way, one of the best names in the league, but he was also really good. He won a penalty in this game. He also earned a hockey assist, which, like I said, that does count to your actual assist count in MLS. We cannot forget that. They need more games like this from Teddy. They need more games where he's electric, where he's making his mark. He's owning that left-hand side. He's really only got competition from Cabral, as far as I know. So there really isn't a reason why he can't make it. Exactly. There isn't a reason why he can't make that his own. And he's had a streak of starts recently, and it's really good to see another guy who's also only 23, just like Cole Bassett. So a lot of room in this Rapid side for Armas to develop that and make them Armas. A lot of room for Armas to develop these guys. New slander name for Chris Armas. My apologies. So
I love it.
yeah, that's my thoughts on the Rapids so far. I want my professor to give me some feedback, and then yeah, we can talk a little bit about the Whitecaps as well.
Oh, that was an A+. I think Atencio being dropped and then the Rapids going on a win says a lot, because I've been very critical in the fact that they've been trying to make him the Cole Bassett of the team. I'm like, just have Cole Bassett be the Cole Bassett of the team. And, you know, when Cole plays deep, this team is just different, because I know Georgie got the assist here, but there's something about Bassett playing in the six that a lot of Rapids fans don't see it, but it's his best position. He got MLS best 11 nods playing deep. So, I mean, I didn't mind the Atencio trade, because at first I thought it was going to be him and Bassett, but then when it was Bassett up top or in forward positions, I was like, I'm not with this Atencio signing. I am now a bit more if it's going to be him, both of them in the double pivot. That means you got to drop one of Ronan or Laraz, but I think you covered it all pretty well there. Vancouver, still kind of injured, still kind of missing Ali Ahmed, still missing Jaden Nelson. Sam Adekugbe went out for the season. But it does feel like they're like the hangover of losing Conca Champions is starting to like really, really chain this team down. And got to give credit to the Cascadia man himself, Jeremey, who had been lurking in the shadows, waiting for this downfall a little bit. Jeremey, I'm gonna throw it over to you for Vancouver. What are you making of this kind of a little bit of a downfall for them? It was kind of easy to blame the absences, but 3-0 on the road, losing to Colorado. Like I would not have expected the 3-0 here, even though I did bet the 3-0 in the first half, and Navajo missed a penalty. Man, tell me about Vancouver though.
Okay, so here's the other shoe that's about to drop for Vancouver. Apparently, there is serious interest from Tigres for Pedro Vite. That's going to be really, really hard for Vancouver to try and convince him to stay with Tigres lurking in the background. That shoe's about to drop. But most importantly, and Juanners, I think we've touched on this before, Takaoka isn't good.
Oh, and
now,
right before that Champions League final, I said disaster class incoming. And it's no surprise that Cruz Azul spanked the fuck out of them.
Yeah. And I believe that, I mean, here's the other thing. There's going to be a couple of asterisks here. First of all, welcome back to Colorado, Ralph Priso. I hope you enjoyed your visit. But there's just It's the fact that they weren't a very deep team. At least you would think so at the start of the year. Now they're dealing with all these injuries, and all these minutes have just continued to add up. Like it's the most obvious hangover. Now let's take a look at their upcoming schedule, because now Vancouver, who were top of the West for the majority of, I think pretty much up until that CONCACAF Champions final, they were top of the West. They're now in third on 38 points. Here's what's coming up for them. Uh-oh. They have to, this week, they are going to Houston on Wednesday. You don't want to go to Houston in the summer on a midweek. That's a loss. They're losing that game. Then they have to go to Vancouver. I mean, no, shit. Then they have to go to San Diego on Saturday. That's a loss. Woof. Then they get a week's rest before hosting Sporting Kansas City, and the inevitability that is Dejan Joveljic. They could lose that. And then they close it out by going. They close out this pre. Oh no! Wait, they don't play in league. Oh, that's actually kind of good. They'll get about 2 weeks to rest, and then they go to San Jose, and then they have to play Forge in the Canadian Championship. That's the semifinal. By the way, I don't know how much you guys are paying attention to the Canadian Championship, but I was. They entered the second leg this past week. They were playing Valor. That the first leg was tied, I believe, 1-1 or 2-2. And they hosted the second leg. They took the lead very late. Then they allowed an equalizer right off of a corner kick. And then Utvik scored a corner kick in like second half stoppage time to finally power them through. That was a game they should have like handily won, easily won. The hangover is so real for this team. It is. And it might get to the point where it's like, are they going to still be in the top four? That's how bad I think this is going to hit them.
Well said, man. I still want to believe in the bald man out up there, the bald Dane, who I think has gotten a lot of this team, and I really want to throw it on the get healthy excuse, but this might be the last time, right? We can use that excuse, because now you have Brian White, you have Berhalter. I know they're about to get into some midweek games, but on the road against Houston, that's a rough one, but still, you got to win. You got to win that one to prove, you're not just some fraud Vanni Sartini evolution. I don't know what to call it at this point, but definitely better than what they had.
Is he
right?
still? Oh, hold on. Is he still coach of the year in your mind?
This is his chance to prove it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been trending towards Varys in the.
I think BJ Callahan should also get a strong push. But we'll talk about them.
This is where coaches make their money. This is where they prove their worth, is when teams look like they're running out of gas. And that's how I've kind of summed up Vancouver in this game, is they just aren't sprinting into the, like, literal sprinting into the positions that they used to. Like, I remember, especially in that game against Jeremey, Portland, but they were going coast to coast on them, and they're just not doing it anymore. They're not upsetting any more defenses. They're not upsetting defenses right now. They're in the doldrums of summer, and I think that was personified in this game. That was just highlighted in this game. I thought that Sorensen, he tried to change it up, move to a 3-back, try to upset the defense a little more, get more players higher up the field to hopefully try to impact the Rapids differently, but it just didn't work. They just looked gassed.
They didn't respect the altitude.
True.
I mean, to be fair, neither have the Rapids for a while, so a home win was nice. It had been a minute. But this is Colorado's time to really prove it, and hopefully more Cole Bassett out the 6 is what I would like to see. Let's move ahead over to New York Red Bulls. Them and New York City, not just because they're New York, but because of just how they're both. These are two teams that know that they have the quality to be better than most of the East and will just hang on to the last few playoff spots and let the dice roll at that point, right? But New York Red Bulls, I don't like this team, man. And it's, like I've said, without Omar Valencia, they're just not worth watching. He came on later. But Daniel, what'd you make of New York Red Bulls here? And tell us about Philly as well when you get a chance.
It's really hard to talk about the New York Red Bulls and like how they played this game without the perspective of what the Philly Union have done to them since 2019. So, I mean, yeah, we can talk as much as we want about how much terrorism it feels like watching the Red Bulls and how they press like crazy, and that's how Philly plays, so there's no free space in it. But Philadelphia has absolutely owned them. They're now 15 games unbeaten since 2019 against the Red Bulls. That is a ridiculous stat. Like, man, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that beyond that. It's just absolutely own them. And it's supposed to be a big rivalry, and it is. I mean, when you watch the game, they hate each other, and a lot of that's personified by both their playing styles, particularly since Bradley Cornell plays a very similar playing style to what Jim Curtin played, which is just pressing, disrupting flow of game, disrupting pace of play, trying to control it. And that's the same exact way the New York Red Bulls have been trying to play since, I mean, I've been watching the league. So that's probably what makes the game so fun and so physical. But at the same time, just to get absolutely demoralized year after year after year, it doesn't matter home or away. It's just crazy. And it just feels like, I don't know, you kind of got a feel for Red Bull fans to some extent, but I don't really feel for them at all because they are a massive market team and they have all the advantages of a massive market team, and it's completely on their ownership for not using that advantage at all. From the side of the Union, I mean, what can I say about Kai Wagner? I actually pulled up a wild stat for this. I want to share with you guys. So for successful crosses in the league, Kai Wagner leads the league with 62. The next best is Christian Espinoza with 48, Jack McGlynn with 40, Mihailovic with 38, and Martin Ojeda with 36. This dude is a guy, man. He is a beast. I think Philly was absolutely helped out by having Quinn Sullivan back in the lineup, Nathan Harriel back in the lineup, and I think Indy Vasilev for Daniel Gazdag leaving. And he wasn't a 1-for-1 replacement with the role, but Vasilev, when he came to Philly, he was like, okay, what position is he really going to play here? What role is he going to play? I think he's really filled that well. And I will turn to Jeremey to sing the new Damiani goal song.
Damiani.
So the production that you're getting from transfers in, as well as having a decent spine, just shows how good Philadelphia has been. You don't even have your best game from Baribo, and you don't really need it because you just absolutely managed to own the Red Bulls year after year after year after year after year. Did I say it 6 times? I tried to say it 6 times. I don't know. I lost track. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of what's come to be expected at this point. So as much as I want to tout how good Philadelphia is, because we know how good they are, and tout how terroristic the New York Red Bulls are, because that's what we know they are, you can't really speak to it subjectively because this is just what the Philadelphia Union does to the New York Red Bulls.
Here's a stat for you guys. Do you guys want to know when the Red Bulls got their first shot on target in this match?
Dude, the 64th minute.
They didn't.
Almost.
Oh.
They almost didn't. 93rd minute on a very pissly shot from Julian Hall. This was, I mean, Alexander Hack had probably one of his worst games for New York. no Valencia until I think he came on at the half. He came on right at the half, and still nothing for this team. It's tough because this is a team that was at MLS Cup, and it kind of felt like if they hadn't beaten the Galaxy, they really weren't going to be getting there again. It felt like a Cinderella run, as most Red Bull pushes for MLS Cup do. Are we thinking they make the playoffs?
Yes.
Joss?
Yeah, I do. It'll be close, though.
Jeremy?
No. They
No.
will not make the playoffs.
I'm going to say no, too.
Because Chicago Fire.
Thank you.
They're 2 points.
Listen,
Chicago Fire are 2 points back with a game in hand.
if they make the playoffs, though, they're going to be just as dangerous or dangerous like they were last year. Because at that point, you're looking at stylistic matchups between teams, and what the Red Bull does is uniquely different to what most other teams in the East do. So really all they need is one or two guys to catch fire. I really don't know who those guys are at this point. Forsberg, in theory, is the most class player on this lineup, but you need a couple guys to catch fire to be able to get there. But stylistically, if they make the playoffs and get in good enough form to do so, because right now, I mean, they don't look like a playoff team, but I just don't. I have a hard time counting them out of being in that picture. And if they make it there, they're just such a stylistic matchup against everybody. It's almost like Minnesota. It's like an Aldi brand version of Minnesota. Like how are teams gonna compete against them in the playoffs when everything is just so stylistically different? That's what the Red Bulls are to me. Like they play like legitimate crackheads.
I will say that you're right, Daniel. The New York Red Bulls would be tough to beat in the playoffs because how do you overcome such overarching mid?
Was this the worst game we've seen from Cornell all year?
Probably, but
I don't know.
Once
That
again,
first goal was rough because it was. I mean, Cornell did well in that first one, I think, and it just unlucky bounce, and from there they just rode that. He did stop Salolivas and Salolivas had plenty of space to score. So,
Do you guys think Choupo-Moting's going to hear the Duke goal song in his nightmares?
I hope so. That dude is fraud for sure.
He has 11 goals, 4 from the penalty spot. Like what is going on? How is he a double-digit goal scorer? This is so stupid.
I'm sure a lot of those come from against LA in that 7-1 or 7-0.
We're gonna take a look at that now. Actually,
we're not even talking about how in the summer transfer window these guys are projected to get Timo Werner, who is probably going to hurt their XG even more.
It's off.
It's off. What happened? No,
that was going to be a movie. Or that was Tom Booger.
Oh, that was Tom Booger, and I was going to bring him up when we talked about Minnesota. I forgot to do it, but
did you get boogered? No,
he got boogered.
Listen, I have I got a second job, right? So whatever I get on the timeline, it's always a quick glance. I never retweet it unless it's Rapids related, but I'll look and I can't really tell in the moment if it's Booger or Bogert, man. Come on.
I'm messaging him and having him put out a Rapids tweet tonight, just so you retweet it.
I'll help craft it. We'll go for real authenticity because I know a few of them have been shit posts, but if he really wants to get a funny one up, I could cook. I could cook on the Tom Booger account. Beyond that, though, any other Red Bulls takes, or are we ready to wrap it up with the final match of the match day here that I have on hand?
Let's get to the final one.
Let's talk about it. Inter Miami, Nashville SC. I promise I didn't mean to put myself down as the assignment here. I was looking forward to this one being the OTB one because I was expecting a bit more from this match, to be honest. Inter Miami get it done, but just as Messi kind of gave away a goal to Montreal, it kind of, the soccer gods always bless this man and his generosity. It came back. Joe Willis just gives Messi the ball, like tries playing it out the back, and Messi just didn't even have to try, dude. He walked into the pass from Joe Willis, and just dribbled around him, scored a goal, the leading goal, 2-1 off the first free kick that he scored. Amazing goal. I still not a fan of the free kicks, even though I can recognize the greatness of them. I really like his dribbly goals more than anything else, but I'm going to open it up to you fellas about this one. Are you guys as upset? I thought this was going to be a bit more fireworks given the team's history, but yeah, I mean, what are we making on this one? Miami, Nashville.
Incredibly upset about Willis. I feel like we've been watching him for a long time now. I've never seen him do anything like that. That was so uncharacteristic. It was insane. Like, what a horrible way to end, like, to give up the game winning goal. Like, that was just so upsetting. Like, as a Nashville fan, you can't really be too upset because you did go 15 straight unbeaten, and this is the game that broke it. But just to have it happen in that fashion is just, I mean, that's just heartbreaking, considering he's kind of been their rock.
Still, though, I think Nashville could still hang their head on this one. I thought they were the better team, especially since Miami only had about 3 shots on target. It's not like and this is after kind of recently, they kind of packed it. Miami kind of packed it in against who was it? Was it New England? It's like they scored their 2 and then just kind of sat on the fact that they had the talent, the talent mismatch, welcomed in a lot from New England in that last match. And like, I get the Messi hype. What is it, like 15 goals contributions in the last 5? Still, man, I'm a little irked here about not, I guess, on some hater shit, because not a big fan of the Miami project, even though I recognize how great it is for the league, but really wanted Nashville to step it up here, man, and I thought they did. Anyone else feel that way, or is just Miami too good?
I feel like Surridge just had a really bad game in this one. He just did not get on the ball enough, and that kind of that really limited Nashville's ability to win more than anything. But also on Miami's side, it makes a big difference when it's both Hector Martinez and Maxi Falcone in. And Tomas Aviles is nowhere near the starting 11.
Valid. How are you guys feeling about Suarez this year?
I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in on this before we move on. I hate that I dropped my headphone. Professional broadcasting. I hate that every single graphic I see from Major League Soccer about duos it'll show like Hanny and Surridge. It'll show Chicho and I don't know, Espinoza, and then it'll always show Messi and Suarez. And I hate it because he's actually been so bad this year. And he's just if Miami actually had a real striker, they would be utterly electric. But that's Messi's boy, and he does still get you some assists, and he finishes chances, and he hobbles around the field and argues with refs, and I guess that sells jerseys. So I'm not super high on Suarez, but I don't think anyone is right now.
Anyone else feel the same way? Because I don't know if it's just because I mean, even the backup like Alan Obando, that dude's completely iced out, and he got signed as like the eventual replacement. So to see that they're just rolling out with Suarez. I mean, this dude's playing consistent. Like, remember we were all like doubting it just because of the injections and whatnot. I don't think we've seen enough of that, but I guess that doesn't really matter when you got talent on hand, right? For Miami.
Well, isn't Obando out until August with a hamstring injury?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I thought Bondo was hurt.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they need him. I mean, they needed him bad. I mean, I don't want to bring up this competition, but they needed him badly in like the Club World Cup because Suarez he's just hobbling out there, man. I don't know what they're injecting his knees with, but double the dose. Get this boy a robotic knee or something. I don't know. It's hard to watch. It's kind of sad.
They're gonna roll on without it, though. They're gonna roll on. This is fine, though. I think. My prediction of having them crash out with Mascherano is not looking too hot, but when you placate to the league's highest paid player, it makes sense how, happy wife, happy life for Javier Mascherano. Yes, Messi's his wife in this instance. But fellas, anything else in Major League Soccer before we wrap this one up?
No. Great episode.
Yeah.
If I do say myself. Good job, guys.
Where can they find
guys?
you,
That was a fun
Daniel?
one.
Where can they
You
find
guys
you?
can find me. You guys can find me on X, the Everything app, retweeting Tom Booger at Block Pro MLS. You'll see me on there as Major League Chill.
Jeremy.
You can find me on the Elon app at Sports Guy Jeremy, where it appears that Brazilians do not get sarcasm. And you can find me on Bluesky at jeremypeterman.bsky.social. You can read my work at cascadiafc.substack.com. Maybe not for long on that part, though. Interesting. And you can also listen to, if you'd like to hear more Timbers ranting and ravings, I am doing a guest spot on the Timber Review podcast this week with radio broadcaster Adam Sussman. Go check that out.
Joss, where can they find you?
I'm on the Elon app at Josh Bathtub. I'm on Instagram and the Elon app at Off to See the Wizards if you're looking for Kansas City soccer content. And I am a new follower of Juanners on TikTok.
Hell yeah. That is the place you can find me on TikTok, dishing out MLS takes. I should do a lot more of the conversation type shit. Maybe just random thoughts throughout the week. But appreciate the shout out there, Joss. You can find me at Juanners.bsky.social. Not on Twitter, but the profile lives on. So I mean, I have plenty of bad and good takes through there. But if you want to dig through that, Juanners715. Beyond that, everywhere Box State Footy you can find at boxstatefooty.com. All the links are there. Thank you guys for making it this far in the episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this with your MLS sicko mom if you've got them. And yeah, have a great rest of your week. We'll see ya when we see ya. Bye-bye.